Morning, back to work for Florida lawmakers today, marking the kickoff to the 2014 legislative session. In the next 60 days, lawmakers are going to be debating a whole slew of issues. We're talking guns, marijuana, red light cameras, education. So what's going to get passed? What's not going to get passed? Money. Also not going to be much of an issue for lawmakers this year. And joining us this morning to talk about what's to come this session, a veteran of covering the state capitol, Jamel Gomes. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Certainly appreciate it. You know, as we were talking their budget, it's going to be a big deal. We're talking about, what, about $1.3 billion surplus lawmakers are going to be handling this session?
They're going to be handling it and trying to pass it, and it's going to be, this is the one thing lawmakers have to do. They're obligated to do during each legislative session. So that's the one thing, despite all the laws that we're going to be seeing, that's the one thing that they must make sure that they pass, so we have an operating government and make sure we can, like, you know,
and already
keep the state going.
Kind of a pretty pricey to-do list, you know, talking about education, all sorts of things. And again, session kind of kicking off today. Governor Rick Scott delivering the State of the State address at 11 a.m. And his big thing, talking money too, cuts the taxes, cuts the fees, about $500 million.
Yes. The governor, this is going to be a light agenda for the governor. Keep in mind, it's an election year.
You know, that was the interesting thing here. You know, how much of this is politics? How much of it is election year? And how much is it, you know, a governor wanting to do the right thing?
Yeah, he has to please a lot of people, like, you know, the Republican base and the Republican-controlled legislature. Plus, he can't upset, like, you know, the voters because he's running for re-election and he wants your vote. So there's not going to be a lot of stuff that's going to upset a lot of folks going through this legislative session.
Now, the thing with this session, the governor certainly has many allies, many Republicans between the Senate and the House. But of course, one thing we've learned in the past, as governor, just because you ask for it doesn't mean lawmakers are going to be giving it to you.
Exactly. We've seen it in the past. But this year, he's trying to appease and not ruffle anyone's feathers. So you want to have a whole lot of stuff that you can walk on the campaign trail to say, okay, this is what I achieved during the legislative session. So that's what he's trying to do in this easy legislative session, to make sure, like, you know, at least he gets something to say, I got this for you, vote for me, and all of that.
I want to move on here to gambling. Certainly lawmakers are going to be taking up some measures here. One that could allow the opening of 2 new casinos down in South Florida. Why is gambling such a hot button issue here in Florida?
Gambling is such a hot issue because Republicans generally oppose the expansion of gambling, but they're going about it in a way that they're creating a commission that would allow them to decide, like, how far to go. And with what these measures are coming down to, we'll have a little bit of the possibility of seeing that in the Senate or the House. They have different proposals, but we'll see how it comes out into the end. It
also could matter, too, you know, right now the Seminole tribe with the agreement in place, that, you know, right now they bring hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue into the state. But if lawmakers allow these 2 new casinos, that could totally change the whole deal already in place, right?
Yes, the governor has to renegotiate and address that compact, which is coming up pretty soon.
Another big issue we've been hearing a lot about, Orlando-based attorney John Morgan pushing to get marijuana, more specifically use of medical marijuana on the issue. Where are the likelihoods of this issue?
That's a very contentious issue. Like, you know, medical marijuana, it's supported by voters. It's been polling high among Florida voters. But the Republican-controlled legislature, they're resistant to the approving that ballot initiative. But you're seeing right now in the legislature, they're supportive of what's called Charlotte's Web, that strand that removes the THC, so you're not getting high, but it's helpful for folks with epilepsy and seizures, and they're pushing that through, and we're going to see a lot of traction on that front, but they're resistant to the ballot initiative.
What's the likelihood, you think, about this one, you know, whether or not it would be passed fully or not?
It will be passed, and what we're seeing with the ballot initiative, it's polling so high, that is likely to pass as well, like, you know, so we might be seeing medical marijuana here in Florida.
It will be interesting to see. Again, a long list of issues lawmakers are going to be taking up. They're also going to be considering bills tightening restrictions on sexual predators, a number of different education-related bills, red light cameras, Medicaid, gay marriage. We're going to be talking about a lot more of those with Jamel Gomes coming up in our 6:30 half hour. We will see you then. Thank you very much, Jamel. And again,